start, or someone will.
Magic.
Thank you, Jim. Is that you, Jim, in the background, or Cesar, or someone? So thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, Cesar is here. So Jim is busy with a variety of things going on at Global Chamber. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening around the world. I am Doug Brunke. I'm the founder and CEO of Global Chamber. I'm in Los Angeles today. That's where I'm largely based. Global Chamber is based in Phoenix. I'm a Polish, German, American, born in New York, and I ended up having a very global life accidentally when a fellow DuPonter, I work for a DuPont company. I was a chemical engineer. I guess you're always an engineer when you are an engineer. And he put together an expat assignment for some American in Japan for himself, actually, and they selected me. And that was kind of the beginning of the end for me because, wow, global business and global activities are amazing. Jim has connected business and real estate in such a beautiful way and in a way that we believe. Global Chamber is something that I started when I retired 10 years ago. And the idea was, wow, wouldn't it be great if there was an organization, maybe a chamber, instead of being one city and maybe one town, why not a chamber that's everywhere? And what would be involved in doing that? So we ended up constructing Global Chamber in 525 larger cities around the world in every country and building up. And we build up by having executive directors in each place. When we look for an executive director in every country and every chapter, we look for someone who is intelligent, has a global mindset, has integrity, is professional, is well connected, is servant oriented and support oriented, and someone who can be the core of what is hard to pull together. This global thing, it's always number two. Local is always number one. The person sitting next to you physically is number one. Always. Your daughter, your wife, your business partner, someone you can reach out and touch. So global is more nebulous because we can only go once in a while. I've been fortunate that I have visited India multiple times because of my DuPont days. And I am very fortunate because I'm a foodie that the teams that brought me around India were veg mostly. And so I got to enjoy all sorts of some of the best food, including going to a wedding on the cricket grounds in Mumbai. That was one of the highlights of all of my trips to India. An amazing country, spectacular people, of course, great food, and lots and lots and lots of opportunity. And that is why Global Chamber is here. Opportunity. The world is amazing. The world has everything. And even though that person right next to us is driving us to be local, have a beer with the person next to us, have tea with the person next to us, the world awaits. So how do we do it? How do we do it safely? How do we do it so that we won't be taken advantage of, someone who's unethical, someone we kind of think might be okay, but turns out not to be okay. We've all had that experience. Let's build trust. Let's build that around the world. And that is what Global Chamber is all about. And Jim, thank you for understanding what we're all about. Thank you for being a member for a number of years. I was telling someone about you the other day. I said, Jim just seemed like a really talented and amazing person until I really got to know him. And he's way beyond that. He's unbelievable. He is not just an amazing person and a great leader and successful, but he's always on. He's always positive, and not in a false way that I'm from New York, so I'm kind of skeptical of the kind of the cheerleader people, honestly, Tony Robbins. I apologize if anyone really loves Tony Robbins. I love Tony Robbins too, But the New Yorker in me says, you know, something about that seems a little fishy. And I'm a more of a John Maxwell kind of guy. It's like, hey, that guy, I trust that guy. Jim, I trust. And Jim, thank you for setting the tone for this meeting, and thank you for all the things that you do. I love you. You're amazing.
Thank you, Doug, and thank you for everything you did with Global Chamber. You know, having this with Ellen Sue, my co-pilot, putting this all together to start, and of course, many other people here to really build the foundation, because we know real estate touches everything for everything we're doing, right? For the economic development, for the supply chain, for just all businesses. It all starts with real estate. So this we thought would be a good anchor, good core with Global Chamber, with this massive network, to start showing some, you know, success, some stories, testimonials that is not so nebulous, but bringing the world together. And many people, and we always say, especially in commercial real estate, we all know each other. So without further ado, I want to introduce Jeff Finn to give our presentation, since they are in India right now, so it's late. So we appreciate the Cyril team with Aju and everyone to do a presentation. But Jeff Finn has been always a longtime mentor, friend of mine. His background, and I'll let him go a little more, was the former owner of NAI with his family, and now running one of the largest technology companies with RealNex, with his partner, Mark Kingston, that used to own Argus. But Jeff, if you want to share a little bit more and then introduce our guest, I know all of our relationship friendships will really put this together, especially with the tech that we're putting in pretty soon.
Well, thanks, Jim, and thanks, Doug. This is a wonderful opportunity to present to the group. Doug, you said a couple of things that were just fascinating and resonated with me. That it's sort of going back longer than I like to think back, but you know, in the 80s and 90s, when I was growing NAI, it was a North American business. And in the late 90s, we put together a strategic plan to become global. And when we did that, NAI had, you know, 150 offices across North America, and they thought I was crazy. They said, "Why do you need to do that? You know, why would you spend time and energy over there when there's so much to do here?" And what I explained to them, and I think what you recognized, is we did business with DuPont, and all of our member offices did business with someone that they only knew them because they had a plant in Charlotte, or they had an office in Manhattan, or they had retail in Los Angeles. We knew that these people were doing business all around the world, and that if you simply ask the question of them, where else can I help you, you'd find that, you know, they're on a plane next week to Mumbai, or they're about to go to China. All the clients were looking at how do they grow their business. And in this era of globalization, companies were growing, and it was early days, but we ended up building and growing into 55 countries and did business all throughout the world. And it was a fascinating time, a fascinating opportunity. But to your point, that so many people have these blinders on that only think of what's next to them and where the immediate opportunity is. But their clients have needs and demands that are much broader than that. And if you're not helping them everywhere, you may not be helping them where you want to help them, was in your backyard. So because someone like Jeff at Newmark, or someone at other global companies, are pitching global services all the time. So we built global services at NAI. And when I met Jim, we began to think about what we could do and what we could do next. And so I built a great technology company, RealNex, and we provide services to all the different commercial real estate services companies nationally, and now increasingly globally. And when Jim was running EXP, we realized that, you know what, there's no great platform for everybody, anybody in the commercial real estate industry, to begin and be able to access the world. Inside of each network or inside of each company, they have some resources, but even as Jeff mentioned it, in India, they need to go outside. There's a partner or some association that they have. But we found that lots of independent agents at independent firms, or even franchises, networks, or global firms, need more than their platform might enable them. So we've put together Renaissance Global which is a network of commercial real estate services firms. It's new, it's growing, it's dynamic. So not everywhere yet, but we're getting there fast. We're using RealNex as our technology platform, and Jim's bringing in Resas for community manager. So we have a great capability from technology infrastructure and a service capability. And I've been able to bring together some of my former colleagues and relationships, which you talked about, knowing people, having trust and confidence that if you're putting your client with someone, you want to make sure they're in good hands. So we've brought vetted service providers around the world to come together and work with us in building out the Renaissance platform. One of the first of which is Cyril. Cyril is former NAI partners of mine, now 35 cities across the country, providing great corporate level services and institutional services to major corporate clients that are relocating or entering into the market. They provide a whole host of commercial services, but today we have Mr. Raju from Trinity, one of the Cyril partners. He'll be talking about the GCC, which is really the commercial centers around the country. We can certainly work with tech and call centers and offices and all the different types of space, but this particular regional headquarters that are being set up are a specific type of location that has a process under which the Cyril team has become expert, and I believe can be very beneficial to the global chamber clientele. So Raju, if you're ready, I'll let you take over. But the Cyril team, again, is well situated across the country with great knowledge of the local markets and a service level capability to assure quality and consistency of a delivery capability. And Mr. Aju, I'll let you take it from there.
Thanks a lot, Jeff. Good evening to all. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are there in the world. This is Aju Thomas. I operate out of Hyderabad in India. I have my colleague Ipshita also. She is also from my office itself. Cyril is a real estate, is a company, is one of the larger real estate broking firms in the country, that is India, with members in approximately about, it has got about 38 members in about 30 odd cities across India. So today, when you cover all the major cities, the state capitals, the important tier 2, tier 3 cities, a Cyril member is there. We are a little choosy about the kind of members we have onboarded. We look for really experienced members. Just to give you an idea, one of our Bangalore members, probably his grandfather set up the business in 1947. So we have people who have decades of experience in their respective markets. Probably the only weakness that they have is they don't have a multi-city setup, and that is what Cyril is trying to provide to its members. And now we are increasingly looking at doing some tie-ups across the world. Last week, I had a chance to speak to James and Jeff, and I was just sharing an idea about the global capability centers that are coming up into India. Maybe some of you would have done transactions within India. We see a lot of American firms, even European firms, coming up, setting up their global capability centers, as they call it, within our country. There are about 1,700 odd global capability centers at this point in time. And this is a value addition from the erstwhile, say, just about call center or a BPO kind of a business. Just to give an example, McDonald's is one of the latest companies to set up a GCC in my city itself. So from what I understand from the McDonald's team here, their worldwide app is now kind of handled and further developed with whatever AI and all from Hyderabad itself. So all these GCCs are contributing majorly in terms of the revenue of the respective companies as well. I just have a small presentation to show. Maybe I'll just take 5 minutes. I hope everybody can see my.
Yes.
We can. Yeah.
Just to give you a context, Cyril is nothing but an acronym of what we do, which is commercial, industrial, retail, investment, and land. On a pan-India level, we are not in the residential business, but everything else, whether it's logistics, warehouses, everything we kind of try to put into it. I was talking about the GCC opportunity currently in India. We see tremendous amount of GCC work happening in the country. As it stands, almost close to $65 billion worth of work GCCs are doing within the country. We are expecting this to move to kind of cross the 100 billion mark very shortly. The major cities in India are the top 7 cities where the leasing market or the leasing action is happening, which is Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, Mumbai, Pune, and the capital Delhi, NCR, which includes Gurgaon and Noida. Overall, some of you might know the market is approximately does about 70-75 million square feet of space take up in a year, which is gross leasing. Net should be close to about 50. And year on year, you will see about 8 to 10% of growth as far as the leasing activity is concerned. We are also seeing now that the market has matured, you will find a lot of real estate investment trusts and those kind of activities also happening within the country. Again, coming back to our GCC discussion, we are seeing a lot of people being employed by GCC. As a matter of fact, there is a talent hunt wherein a lot of IT firms are losing good amount of talent to these GCC companies. Earlier, only Fortune 500 companies would set up these kind of centers within India. But now we find even beyond of that, also companies are coming into India to gain traction from maybe the real estate cost, the IT employees or the skill set that is there within the country. And there is a lot of focus we find with the GCs on the AI, cloud computing, automation kind of things. I've just set out a few names. Most of you would be knowing these names. I'll try to show a few more names of companies, mostly American companies, which have come into India to set up these GCCs. Now, like I said, for us, the largest office market is Bangalore, and GCC is the major contribution of GCCs in India is in that city. It is also referred to as our Silicon Valley. We have close to 880 centers, pretty large companies like JP Morgan, HSBC, Honeywell. You name the companies, they're all kind of there. And this is a market which in the first 6 months of this year has done probably around 17-18 million square feet of office leasing. This is compared to 21 million that they did just last year, full 12 months. So you can very well imagine that number is going to exceed pretty strongly in this particular year. And Bangalore, you also find a lot of these startups. India is now home to a lot of unicorns. So all that is also fueling into the entire ecosystem. India being a system of the central federal government and the state government, the GCC also depends on a lot on the GCC policies of the respective state. So Bangalore comes under the Karnataka state, which has a very progressive GCC policy to attract GCCs into Bangalore. The next city which is attracting a lot of GCCs is my city, which is Hyderabad. We have close to almost 355 plus GCCs. The last one that set up probably last week was Costco, if I'm not mistaken. They set up a large GCC. Probably they've taken about 200,000 square feet in high-tech city to set up their GCC in India. The Telangana government all along has been, our state is called as Telangana, and the government has been very proactive in attracting IT companies into the state, and especially the state capital, which is Hyderabad. We find even from a startup perspective, the state government has initiatives like T-Hub and all, specifically tailored to help the startup ecosystem. So a lot of these GCCs we find are working across, BFSI or semiconductors or software. It's the whole segment of things that these guys do. The next city or a bunch of cities that are important from a GCC perspective is Mumbai, which is a financial capital, and Pune, which is again an industrial hub, both in the state of Maharashtra. You will find almost close to 720 GCCs here. Many of the financial related GCCs you will find in Mumbai and or Pune. And anything to do with manufacturing, automobiles, those kind of stuff will go to Pune automatically. It historically has seen a lot of automobile related activities happening there, apart from IT. So again, we see a lot of these GCC elements coming into these buildings, into these markets. Just to give you a context, I think this year we will be crossing 1 billion square feet in terms of buildings developed across these 7 cities. By the end of this year, that is a number that we will be crossing in terms of constructed property across these 7 cities. And this I'm talking about leasable properties for IT firms. Markets like Bangalore and probably has about 1/4 of that number. But that's where we are headed to, and the growth seems unstoppable at this point in time. The next city that probably attracts a lot of GCC and is the startup capital also for us is the Delhi NCR. This market comprises of 3 important cities, which is the national capital of Delhi, Gurgaon, and Noida. So most of our unicorns, if you see, are set up in this city. And we have more than 465 GCCs, just operating from NCR itself. Then we have down south. This is Chennai. Again, good hub for GCCs, and from the IT market perspective, we find larger IT firms like HCL and LTI, Mindtree, and all having large setups here. Again, adding even a company like Cognizant, they have one of their largest real estate setups in Chennai. Chennai is also very strong in terms of automobile manufacturing. The erstwhile Ford factory was there. And you have other manufacturing companies also operating from in and around Chennai. So what we find now is that apart from the top 7 cities, post-COVID, I think the learning with these companies has been that they can probably operate in other smaller towns also. We are seeing that happening now with companies going into important Tier 2 cities, which are basically state capitals in other states, for starting GCCs. It reduces their cost. It is popular with their employees. So if you have a lot of employees, say from the eastern part of India, you set up a center in a city like Kolkata or Calcutta, and that kind of that side of your employees just have to come to Calcutta or a place like Bhubaneswar, or you go to northeast towards Guwahati. It takes care of itself. So that's a small brief that I wanted to share. I am open to any questions. I hope this was of some information useful to all of you.
Oh, there's a question from Jeff.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Thanks so much for the presentation, and thanks for linking in with me. I appreciate that. Hey, so the question becomes this. I'll ask it from a two-way standpoint. I represent 90% of my work is BPO, back office, contact center, and I represent their entire global portfolio. So if a BPO third party needs a facility in Europe, I help them on the site selection, which is the labor analytics, all the demographical profile, the wage profile, all the mitigating risk factors and all that, such as natural disaster and all that. And so I provide all of that as well as the real estate transaction. So I assist them in acquiring the lease, right? Negotiating the lease and all that. So my question becomes this. If I have a client and that says, Jeff, we want to be in India, I would reach out to you and say, look, I want you to be my real estate partner. You'll help me. Typically, I'm able to attract most of the site selection data prior to the real estate. So, we look at Pune and say, okay, I want all the list of contact centers, all the how many employed in that industry, all the population, labor force numbers, unemployment rate, youth unemployment rate, and all that. And you help me with finding office spaces that are for lease for my client, right? Is that kind of the role? And if you say, look, you have a client that says we need a BPO or a back office in Europe, you find somebody in Europe, or you come to Jeff Pappas and I help you find somebody in Europe, or if you have someone looking in the United States, you'll come to, someone like me. And so it kind of, trades off. Am I thinking correctly in kind of what you're looking for from a real estate standpoint?
Yeah, absolutely, Jeff. I'll try to answer it in a slightly different manner, from what our experience is. Now, I am based out of Hyderabad. So before Cyril, if I had an opportunity, say in a Delhi or a Bombay or say Bangalore, I would just hear out, I would have these loose arrangements here and there. Maybe the client will work with me, maybe they'll not work. So with Cyril, I have now been able to concentrate on pan-India requirements more. And that increases my acceptability with the client. So with this group, our intention of stepping out of India is the same, a two-way traffic, where we not only get business, we are also seeing Indian companies going abroad, and we would like to explore those opportunities also, because as of today, we are only hearing them going abroad. Somebody might say, I want an office in Ireland, I want someplace in US, and most of our companies now, especially most of the IT firms, are global. Some of our larger industrial houses are global. So I find that they keep opening offices across the world. But there's no opportunity that we are chasing. With the right kind of relationships like this, once we establish it with you, we'll be happy to take it as a two-way relationship. I see a lot of value in that.
Okay. Yeah, because that's kind of the question becomes, if I have client and they want to go into a certain market, I've got to go. And since right now Newmark doesn't have an office in India, so if my client says, Jeff, we want to go to India, we want to look at these 3 different cities, right? We may say, well, we want to look at Pune, we want to look at Calcutta, we want to look at Bangalore, right? It's okay. So I find my goal would hopefully to find one broker that could connect me to each person. And then when it comes to fees, then of course we look at splitting fees and sharing in that standpoint, because usually it's the landlord that pays for the commission or my client pays the commission, and we figure out who. Or I just go myself to 3 different brokers in those 3 different cities and say, okay, you're my broker in this city, you're my broker in this city, you're my broker in this city. Then my client decides we're not going to all 3 cities, we're going to 1 city. And then they say, okay, we're going to select Pune. We're not going to look at these 2 markets anymore. We've looked at the real estate, we've analyzed it. We're not going to go there. So we're not doing a lease here. We're doing a lease here. And then of course I work the transaction with that local person. My always hope is I work with someone like you or someone in a boutique nature that kind of works harder than sometimes a JLL or a CB or a big company like that may not work as hard, because a lot of my clients sometimes aren't big. Maybe we're, so if it's not a big transaction, sometimes they don't work as hard for others. But I want to make sure that they work hard for me, because I'm giving my trust into that broker to say, look, I may not even go. I may say, you take care of taking my client out in the car, traveling to all these sites and go to these meetings. My goal is always, hey, Jeff, I helped you do this deal in India. I've got a project in a market outside of India. Can you help me? Because I do work. 30% of my work is in the US. 70% of my brokerage work is outside the US, mostly in Latin America, Europe, Asia, and a lot more in Africa right now. So it's always, what we always try to do is say, look, I will use you in India. If you have a project in the States or if you have a project anywhere else, you'd come to me first. And if I can't do it, of course, I'd recommend someone to you. And I think it's one of the things I like about the Global Chamber is we're not, exclusive to somebody, but that, look, you have a client in Bangalore that says, we're not going to grow in India. We're going to grow in Europe. Who do you recommend I speak to? Hey, reach out to Jeff Pappas at Newmark. He's done multiple projects in Eastern Europe. He can help you on both the labor side as well as the real estate side. Because that's what I think, we're shifting away from the broker just doing the lease transaction. The broker is actually being asked to do more from the labor and economic development and business incentive, tax structure, legal, labor laws, as well as, and again, I don't want to tie up this conversation, but you and I will have a conversation to show you what I do and you show me what you do. I just want to make sure that that's kind of what you're thinking.
Correct. So Jeff, we are in complete alignment of what we are thinking, and it has to be a two-way traffic. From a ease perspective, what we will be doing is we will be doing a spoke kind of thing for you in India. You don't have to talk to 30 different offices or 7 different offices. That spoke point will be my office, and we will coordinate with the other cities, and vice versa. Even when the business is going back to you, it will come through the spoke only. We will keep those things in keep those arrangements like that itself. Just to give an idea, earlier, so we've done a transaction for a company called as T-Tech. I think it came from the US. So like you said, they made us evaluate Pune, they made us evaluate Chennai, they made us evaluate Hyderabad.
Who is this company? I'm sorry.
T-Tech, T-T-E-C, T-Tech.
E-Tech, E-T-E-C.
T-T-E-C.
Okay.
And the same thing, we went through the same process of explaining the opportunities in all the 3 cities. And finally, they decided on Hyderabad, and we were able to do that particular transaction. So, like I said, for example, we have a customer called as LTI Mindtree. Now, I find LTI Mindtree has a lot of offices in the US and Europe, because the majority of the IT business comes from US and Europe, US most. So they end up opening up a lot of offices, or say, for example, Tech Mahindra. They once in a blue moon ask me whether I have a contact in Southeast Asia or Australia. I have none. So I just hear them out, and then I have to reach out to one of these IPCs only if they can help. Now we are trying to establish these relationships directly with people like yourself, so that, we can have this two-way traffic. Just as we are talking on the Newmark thing, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Newmark also has a GCC in my city. Because a friend of mine is the head facility is there. So that's how I know that Newmark is there. And from just a GCC or a office processing perspective, they have a large office in my city.
I know we have employees there, but I don't know if we have an office there. That's fantastic. I know we have employees in India, but I'm not sure that we have an office there. That's great. Thank you for, yeah, I need to think about that.
Yeah. But the office is only as a GCC. It doesn't do brokerage per se.
Right. It's just I think it's all my analysts. All my analysts are there, I think. Yes. So, but go ahead.
Aju, if you don't mind putting your contact information, because I know many others want to connect and everything with you, since India, very important, very big country, not just going to India, but exporting outside, like you said.
So yeah, we'll have a call. So we'll have a call aside from this. So thanks, Aju.
I'll reach out to you.
So one other thing is I invited a guest because there's going to be a large private equity family office event. Chirag, if you don't mind sharing, because that's why I want you to connect so you can meet with Aju and the rest. It's a lot of big crypto New York money. So if you don't mind, Chirag, sharing the event with everyone so everyone can connect. And especially, I said, after a certain time, you need local because not everyone can travel, but it is big dollars. If you don't mind, Chirag, sharing the event.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. Just wanted to introduce myself, Chirag Odev. I'm here in New York. I am part of our VIP group. I'm the head of partnerships for the group. Essentially, it's roughly 300 members globally. Members exist across all types of different industries, and the group essentially connects everyone globally to host different events, luxury experiences, and really just get everyone together for a good time in different locations around the world. This year, our annual gala is going to be in New Delhi. Part of our experience from the member LP engagement side is organizing conferences, having guest speakers. Usually these tend to be hedge funds, venture capital, private equity, and really just have experiences that are appealing to our membership base. So again, the membership base is roughly 300 people. I'd say average age is people in their 50s and net worth around the $10 million mark. So this year's gala in New Delhi is going to be October 3rd through the 5th at the Oberoi Hotel. And the theme is going to be around investing in India and looking for, and uncovering opportunities. So largely it's going to be crypto and early stage tech focused. But again, these investors invest in different asset classes all across the spectrum. So really what I've been helping them with is just connecting different partners that either want to present or be at the conference, or just anyone who has their own business, has their own platform, and are looking for investors and want to get in front of this membership base. I'm helping to facilitate that.
Chirag, if you don't mind putting your contact too, and I think connecting with Aju and the rest.
Yeah, absolutely. I will promote it amongst the Cyril members also. So what we also tend to do, James, is we as senior members of the group, we try to do business development or client meetings together in many of these cities. So we go as a group to say Bangalore or Delhi, and we keep doing that probably a couple of times a quarter. So we'll plan something around this in Delhi.
Okay, perfect.
Not sure if it makes sense. I'm sure you can think about it, Chirag. Would it make sense to talk about real estate? Maybe the Cyril team could talk about investment opportunities on the real estate side within the conference.
Yeah, I do think so, and I think that's something that our group has voiced. That some of these members have come into wealth pretty recently with the whole crypto and digital asset craze. So they were like, yeah, we're really good at uncovering, Bitcoin and crypto investments, but we don't even know the first thing about buying a house or knowing if a real estate deal is good or not. So
there's a particular way to invest in real estate. You can't. It's not as simple as in the U.S. So I think that having an advisor that can help to show you how to talk about navigating the course could be quite beneficial if they see that type of opportunity.
Yeah, and I think
sure.
Anything from sharing deal flow, deals that people are currently working on, to even educational presentations and using that as like a first step to get in front of the group. I think the group is very open and receptive to, however people would want to give speeches. That could either be in person, it could be virtually over Zoom. It could also just be, if people wanted to sponsor a happy hour or organize a dinner, we could help create that for that weekend in October.
And just to add, I did talk to some New Yorkers, and I think, Doug, I told you $500 million in Bitcoin plus others that are in their network wants to work. And this is where I may get a proposal for them with Tom from Altos Bank about staking it and using it as collateral, since they're more open-minded and the new administration's open about using it to translate into real estate assets. So I'm in a very high level, pretty large dollar amount to look. And Chirag, I think I told you yesterday, so when I get the proposal to see which bank could use it as collateral, right, and then deploy it into lending and actually buying assets with that bank. It's $500 million, and they have more behind it if this proof of concept works. So it's interesting sharing all of these ideas with everyone. But Doug, I just want to give you it back. If no questions are for Aju and the Cyril team, anyone else?
I'm perfectly fine, you guys connecting with me at your convenience also. Thanks a lot for the opportunity.
Doug, you want to introduce anyone else?
You're aggressively pushing us into this. Thank you very much.
Aju, the global network, that's why we're doing this with Doug, it's just not in a silo. I always think abundance too. So I always like bringing this group, that group, good, like-minded people all together. I think there's abundance, right? Not just limited. So the more groups together, connecting together, it's going to happen, especially good people, like everyone's mentioned over and over, trust in good people. Doug, you want to share with us, because I see some new faces, new people, to call them out so they can kind of introduce themselves.
Sure, absolutely. Mona, I don't know if you're new to this particular group, certainly not new to Global Chamber. Can you say hi, and how is this information resonating with you so far?
Good afternoon. I feel that I was just with you this morning. I was at the advisors meeting this morning, and I'm part of this group, the real estate. I didn't attend the last two 2 weeks, I believe, or is it 2 months, something like that. But I am definitely part of it. We are working with Paula on something. Hopefully it will happen. I am always eager. Yes, my niche has been foreign nationals and corporate portfolio as far as real estate goes, REOs, and this is all good information. I am always happy to connect with brilliant people and people who know more than me, because I want to grow, I want to learn, and want to be around people who are smarter. And why not? One day, maybe my real estate brokerage will, I'll put it aside and connect or join a bigger company where I have a much bigger impact as far as exposure to global real estate. So I'm happy to be here with you.
I really appreciate that. And you reminded me of a conversation I had yesterday with Cesar Cepeda. Jim, you introduced him, I believe, through this group. And so we had just a great conversation. And so there was a bonding going on. And he said, I love the fact that Jim really likes the Global Chamber. And I said, well, I think with Jim, he's kind of wrapped his shoulder around me, not only kind of feeling good about Global Chamber, but I think he feels pity for me. He wants to help. He recognizes, the both the opportunity and the challenge. And you know what? We're all kind of in that same boat as entrepreneurs, right? It's at different levels. There's the elite people, that are like doing amazing things and they've evolved completely or largely completely, and they want to get to the next level. They're working with the multi-millionaires, and now it's time for them to work with the billionaires. And for folks, like most of our members, they range, and everybody needs help. And that's really important to recognize that, we need to support each other. And so, Mona, thank you. Your articulation this morning was brilliant, and how you want to help and you want to support. You knew that you couldn't do the executive director role because you didn't have the time and it just didn't fit, but you found an amazing executive director. So Khalid Munir, which I don't think he's here, but he was in our meeting earlier today, and he's a perfect fit. And you've got Jim Cook as another piece, and you've got the pieces together. And so we're all trying to just piece it together to get to the next level. So thank you for seeing that, and thank you for doing that. In a similar way, Ellen Shu is a member of Global Chamber, and she's a team and leads this meeting. I'm not sure, Ellen, you've spoken. Is that because you can't, or because I just missed it?
Thank you, Doug, for the opportunity. I speak in every single meeting, so that's why I want to give the opportunity to, since I host this seminar, I want to give the opportunity to everybody here. But a couple of things. First of all, I really want to thank Ruby for all her help, because our next speaker that's coming up next week is going to be Anne. She's the commercial director at Indigo Home from Ghana. So Ruby, can you speak? Do you want to talk a little bit about her and also how you know her? Thank you.
Hi, Ellen. It's a pleasure to connect with you all, and I'm excited already for us to have Annan with us next week. They own beautiful estates in Ghana, and I want everybody to save the date and join us next week. It will be exciting. I don't want to take the excitement out now. I will encourage everybody to show up next week, and then we can enjoy it together. Thank you.
Yeah, so we're going from India to Ghana next week. So everybody, please stay tuned. And also, if you know anybody interested in investing in Ghana, please do invite your friends or any of your colleagues to come on. I think it's going to be very exciting. There is a huge, huge opportunity right now. And I think, Doug, I just got off the call with Global Chamber about investing in Africa, right? So
Yeah.
the legal structure, I think that was an excellent, excellent opportunity. People talked about the various different structure on how to invest in various different areas in Africa. So that's something that if you're interested in, please check into the Global Chamber website and sign up for that. I think part 2 is tomorrow. Thank you, Doug. Really appreciate it.
Oh, our pleasure. Part 2 is tomorrow. You also reminded me through your introduction to Ruby is something we've talked about in one of our earlier meetings today, was trust and not getting burned. And so people like Jeff Pappas, who I watch him travel all over the world and 55 countries and all these different places that he's been, enjoying himself. But there's a lot of great business to be had, but there's also danger. And Ruby reminds me not so much of the danger, but of how great it can be, and also the converse, when sometimes it seems like you're dealing with someone that you can trust and they're in that gray zone, like you're not sure, but you want to kind of see how it goes. Ruby's done that to me many times, where someone was in the gray zone and I responded to them, and she sent me back private messages with the real skinny. Not in any way biased, just like, here's the facts, here's what this person has done, and then you go. Paula and I are kind of doing that with someone as well, where I noticed online Paula was doing something with someone who was in the gray zone for me, and now he's in the danger zone. So, it's like, that's not someone that I want to affiliate with. And so I saw Paula do something. So I immediately, actually, I think it might have even been today, Paula, is like, just be wary. I could misjudge it. I don't like to be judgmental, but I do not want to make big mistakes. And so I think all of us, especially people like, well, most of you, but I think of Jeff Pappas traveling country to country, or, it's hard. And that's a lot of the reason why we exist. One of the big inspirations for me at the beginning of Global Chamber was the CIA director, Bobby Inman. He served at the US CIA twice, and I watched him speak, and he started out by just kind of, let's start in Somalia, and let's talk about the past and what's going on today and where they're headed and how they interact with these other countries. And that reality of like, wow, could any of us pick a country, our own country, I think we can do it with, but how many other countries can each of us do that? And Jim probably can do 195. I know I can't. And so I rely on the global tribe. Probably Jeff can do at least 55, maybe more. Does anybody have anything else that they would like to share? Anita, how many countries can you explain the past and the current and the future? US and
only
Israel.
A handful. Israel, Venezuela, Spain. I don't know, I have very short-term recall, so I could research anything and tell you, but don't ask me a week later.
But foreign currency, Anita is the person to go to, and she also has a variety of different expertise. What's your reaction to what you've heard today in terms of some of these opportunities?
Amazing. Thinking about a business sector as the real estate genre. I hadn't thought about it in those terms. So I think it's very, very interesting.
Very cool. Anita's on our Global Chamber Los Angeles Advisory Board. And anything else that you'd like to share about what you're doing?
I think that's going to become extremely important for Anita, because with the US dollar slipping the way it's slipping and the potential of slipping anymore, it gets to a point where, okay, what currency do these companies pay their employees in, right? Local to US to local and strict to euro. I mean, it gets to a point where I'm worried that some people in the US are going to start paying their employees in a different currency, right? And I travel so much, and my dollar is becoming less and less, I don't want to say worthless, but get to a point where every country I go to, I'm basically just losing money, whether I go to an ATM, a bank, the airport, or some guy on the street trading me money. That's a huge concern for me and my clients.
Totally.
The flip side of that is that when I travel, I go to Europe once a year, and so I'll get more euros for my dollar. I go to Australia once a year, I'll get more Aussie dollars. So It's more on the retail side as opposed to the commercial side, but I'm not entirely upset about that at this moment. After I've converted my currency, yeah, after that. But just let people know, they're also, regardless, if you're doing business, let's say you're an exporter from the US, there are benefits to allowing people to pay in their local currency and managing the risk of the currency exchange from the US side, for example. So while I mostly work with US importers making foreign payments to, their suppliers in other countries, and unfortunately for me, most Indian companies get paid in US dollars. The same is true of China, and there are some other countries that are, that get paid in dollars. But sometimes it is worth it considering allowing one of your customers to pay in their local currency to pay you here in the US. And that's a very interesting conversation, but it can mean saving a lot of money for manufacturers here in the US.
Thank you, Anita. Jim, we like to finish at 55, so we're going to go a little bit over, but we do need to wrap up on time. I just want to do a shout out to Mark. Mark, are you able to speak? Mark Cohen, I saw you texting, or I saw some text from you. You're always tied into a meeting, so I'm always afraid to say hi. But do you have 30 seconds just to say hi?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I love the golf course. Nice backyard.
Thank you, everyone.
It's very Scottsdale.
Thanks, Doug. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be here, and I'm learning and I'm growing, but more so with Jim. I've had some tremendous conversations with him on a global basis because I was involved, and you weren't on the call 2 times ago, Doug, but I was involved with the RTC in the 80s. I was involved with the real estate in a big way in Southern California globally. And what has happened is we are in an environment right now because of what's going on in the world today. And because of, as you know, I sold my business to the Chinese government in the 80s. I always lead by that example because it just sets the plate for people to understand that I've been in this industry, in the industry of people more than anything else, with people and companies globally for the last over 40 years. So I'm seeing the uncertainty and the certainty of what's happening in the world today. And collectively, we all need to have this collaboration together to how we can do one as far as doing the global business together and the trade together. I think it's incredible what's going on in India with your presentation there, with what you're offering. I think the Global Chamber is now going to be the next level by bringing this in, because it always leads by real estate. It always leads by people need a house. It always leads by a business. It always leads by where we're going today for all categories of life really right now. So I'm really blessed. I'm really blessed also to how we can collaborate together to do good. And that's what we're about today. And that's what the Global Chamber is about, Doug. And that's why I'm so grateful to be in this tribe with you to do this today, because it's important. It's so important.
Thank you very much. Doing deals, making business, moving the world forward, all important. Tomorrow, it is tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'll see you at the Women in Global Leadership 9th annual event by Global Chamber. Besides just doing business, we can elevate all people. That includes any gender, all religions, all people, any country. That makes the world a better place. It's not threatening. It actually gives us all opportunity. So, Jim, such an important part for me in Global Chamber is the feeling of belonging in the global tribe. I'm just a chemical engineer, and you've made me feel belonging in the real estate world. So thank you so much. Do you have some final comments, please?
I just want to thank everyone. It makes me happy when I just see connections like Aju and Cyril and Jeff. This is what we're trying to do for everybody, finding a home and creating some opportunity. So I just say thank you. Let's think abundance. Let's think globally, and let's all work together. And looking forward, Ellen, to next year with Ruby, next week with Ruby and everything, more about Ghana and Africa, because there's a lot of opportunities from what I'm learning. But I just want to thank everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye-bye.
See you tomorrow in the part 2 one.
Thank you. Thanks,
Thanks,
everybody.
Ellen.